And joined once again here at the Napa Walmart by our great friend Larry Gebert from the Channel 7 Morning Show. Larry, good to have you with us.
We call it Today's Morning News.
Today's Morning News.
Just search for it. We believe that we actually call our show what everybody calls it.
Logan, let's pot up Larry's mic, please. I can't hear him.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
So
details.
There we go.
I like the fact that Logan steps away as we start talking without checking to see if the levels are working right. But anyway,
yes.
But that's always good. No, actually, we like to call our morning news Today's Morning News because we think everybody calls it that. So you called it the Channel 7 Morning Show.
I just call it Channel 7,
yeah.
Channel 7, Channel 7.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. It works out well. So,
Larry, let's talk a little bit about some of the charitable giving. And why don't we bring in Kelsey as well? We've seen Kelsey on the road from the Boise Rescue Mission. You see these guys all, and you're always on the road.
You know, what I'm always amazed by is how well they reach out to the homeless population. Oh, you want me to get closer?
Yes, I want you to get closer, Larry.
I'm used to television.
Those mics aren't directional, so you need to speak right into them.
Okay, I'm used to talking into microphones. That okay, good. All right, that's fine. Do you use this to support your car when you need to change the tire or anything like that? This microphone? I just wasn't sure. No, anyway, I'm always amazed as to how well the rescue mission does in terms of reaching out to the homeless population. You know, you travel around, you go to some other places. You know, I mean, maybe it's me because I'm up early in the morning. I was reminded by one of the volunteers out here today. Just, you know, he's been to other major cities and he's seen some of the problems that they have with the homeless in those areas. And you know, you'll see them out there laying up against the doors of businesses because there's a crack at the bottom of the door and there's a little bit of warmth that comes out of there. So they're like laying almost on top of each other, just trying to get a little bit of the warmth that comes out from under the door. And we don't see that in this area. And I think that really that's just a testament to how well the rescue mission reaches out, gives opportunities, helps get people on their feet so they're not like permanent residents by any means of the rescue mission. They're there for just a period of time to kind of get back on their feet. You know, we talk about it all the time, you know, it's not a hand out, it's a hand up. But, I mean, they're really good at that. They're really good at getting people back on their feet and getting them into jobs and getting them into homes and things and whatnot and really doing the work that we talk about all the time. They actually really do it. And
that's where your donations come in. Kevin Mill in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Larry Gebert joining us in between his, I don't know, how many live shots do you do? 27 a day?
There's in the morning, let me think about that for a second. I think that there's 24 times that we're on over the course of the morning.
That's a lot of Larry, Kelsey.
Yeah, it is.
It's not too much,
though. You're not suggesting it's too much now, are you? Like Kelsey said, it's not too much.
There's never too much.
Me.
All right, okay.
Now, what do you think of when you hear what Larry says about your group?
I think about, you know, the 500 people who are going to check in our doors tonight right here in your own cities. I think about the 500 people every year who are not going to be homeless because of the programs that we offer. That, you know, every year we're turning out people who are going to turn around, be donors, and are not going to return to that lifestyle. And it's all because of your donors, Kevin, and we appreciate it.
Well, Larry, you're all about charitable giving, and you see so much. We were talking just earlier about the return on investment. And, you know, we don't have a Thanksgiving or Christmas banquet in the summer, do we?
No, we don't. You know, I mean, it's very easy to remember. And I even as a child, I remember that, you know, there was always seemed like the holidays were the time that you donated and that you helped out. It was just only at the holidays. But, you know, I mean, this is, I think this is outstanding what you're doing here, because you're reminding us that even though we're coming up on the summer season, it's warmer temperatures. You know, I think that sometimes people think, oh, well, when it's warmer, you know, it's okay to be homeless. It doesn't matter. You've got, you know, it's like camping, you know, but it's not. It's really not. And you even pointed out, you know, we get to triple digits. That's really hard on people if they don't have a place to cool down and they're not welcome, you know, in some place that has air conditioning or something like that. That's why they need something like the rescue mission to help them. And I mean, the need goes on all the time. Kelsey even said 500 people are going to check in tonight. You know, I remember when they used to say, well, we're going to have as many as 300 tonight. You know, I mean, as the area grows, as we grow, I mean, everything grows. And it just kind of is the same percentage of growth that we have. And, you know, and sometimes we talk about we've done a lot of reporting on this recently, too, about how difficult it is to find a place to rent, to find a home that's available. I mean, affordable housing, and how the cost of affordable housing has gone up and how difficult that is. So I think about that, and I think, you know, just what does that do to a certain population that just can't afford rent? Where do they go? What do they do?
Kelsey?
That's what we're here for. You know, we want to help people get back on their feet. The minute someone checks into one of our shelters, that day they're going to meet with a case manager. We're going to find out what caused them to become homeless, help direct them in the right way for the right resources, and really, you know, provide them the tools in order to work for themselves. They work really hard at our shelters.
You're listening to Kevin Miller in the Morning, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. So Larry Gabbert joining us from what is it? Today's morning news.
Today's morning news,
as opposed to tomorrow's or yesterday's.
Yeah, actually, well, it's kind of a our NBC program that is also kind of
today.
on this time of the day is the Today Show.
What's the deal with you guys eating breakfast on that commercial? By the way,
we actually didn't eat anything that morning.
You were drinking coffee or throwing
we had coffee cups. And there's a period of time I was trying to teach my cohorts how to hang a spoon on their nose because we were just having fun. So we did some of that.
That's what TV people do, hang spoons on
their
nose?
No, that's what I used to do whenever you were like waiting for dinner at home and when it was taking a while, we would all get pretty good at hanging a spoon on our nose. We had pretty good sized noses. That helps. So that and then temperature. It's always a factor of temperature, humidity. If you really need instruction, I can actually teach you.
They call that tune out. So we'll continue on here.
Yeah, I was going to say this is really not very good for radio because it's kind of a visual thing, and you can't really talk while hanging a spoon on your nose.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
But would you mention that particular promo?
And yes, shame on me for
that. And I think we're just supposed to look that we're just. I think it was supposed to portray that we're comrades.
Do you guys do that? Like before the Today's Morning News, you like
have
fun and juggle
at least three times a week. No, we don't do that. It was a promo. It's just supposed to show that we have fun together. We do have fun together all the time. We do that, and we are friends, and we do things. We do things together away from work too.
Now I have to say, for those that have never seen, my favorite Larry Gabbert promo is Beefcake Larry.
Is the what?
Beefcake Larry.
Be what?
Beefcake.
Beefcake
Larry.
Beefcake Larry.
When you're water skiing.
Oh, that one.
And you've only got your life jacket on.
Yeah.
Kelsey, do you love Beefcake Larry?
Well, but that's usually
who
in the
doesn't love
wintertime.
Beefcake Larry?
No, there's another one in the summer where you're.
Well, yeah, I guess there is. Yeah, I haven't seen that one for a while, so maybe there wasn't as much appeal to that as you're suggesting.
The audience of one.
Yeah.
Larry, growing up, what about pennies? Did you collect pennies?
I did, as a matter of fact, surprisingly. But I was, the ones that were like had the wheat on the back. Those are the ones that are older that were valuable. I actually had a penny collection that I did, and I had one for nickels as well, and then Kennedy $half. I had one of those collections.
Kelsey,
bring on down your Kennedy $half.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure those are always welcome.
Well, that's the idea, and we go back to Larry, as you mentioned, the spring edition here. People will be water skiing, they'll be going away, they'll be going on vacation, and that stresses folks out. And sunscreen, water, although we don't need it today, any of these things that we take for granted, necessities are luxuries to people. Like Louis, who came here from California when was left homeless, literally homeless, had nowhere to go, had lost his friends, his family, shared with us what it was like to not be alone. Larry, we talk about, not to get too serious, but the incredible amount of suicide in this country.
Yeah.
And what's the cause of that? Depression and feeling alone, that no one cares. Mm-hmm. That's where places like the Boise Rescue Mission come in.
Well, the whole point behind suicide is that the pain of dying is less than the pain of living, is how folks have reached that particular point in their life. And you do that when you hit bottom. And the people, Kelsey's shaking her head. She knows what I'm talking about. You have seen this too, Kevin, but a lot of people don't quite understand that bottom is really bottom. When you've hit bottom, you don't have a job, you don't have insurance, you don't have money, you don't have a home, you don't have a family, you don't have friends. You have exhausted all of those resources. You are now at the point where you have to rely, essentially, on strangers, someone you've never met before, someone like the rescue mission who is willing to do something for you, because that's the only difference between existing anymore, because you have absolutely hit bottom. And bottom is truly bottom. There is absolutely nothing there for you except the kindness of strangers.
Larry, you going to be around this morning?
Yes. You and I are going to talk in about 2 minutes on TV.
All right. Well, we will do that.
All right. That's how I give him my cues, so I let him know where we are.
Right, as opposed to our brilliant paid staff that instead of monitoring, they're out there talking to each other. Yes.
No, they're doing a fine job. They keep coming down and telling me just give them a signal.
Yeah, I'll give them a signal.
Okay.
In the charitable giving. Thank you, Larry.
All right.
Kelsey, your thoughts here on the summer. Talk a little bit. Share with us, the trips to college for the kids.
I thought about rock bottom and, how sad that typically a kiddo is along for that ride, but we get to serve those kids. Like I said, we have over 100 kids signed up for summer program right now. We're going to tour the local colleges just like we do year round with the teenagers. We're going to go out. We're going to learn how to swim. We're going to go to camp. We're going to do science projects. All 3 meals are served to these kids. We're going to do school 3 days a week. It's going to be awesome. We're going to break the cycle.
Well, you can't do that. You can't do it if it's not paid for.
That's right. We need everybody to come down and give those Kennedy half dollars, those pennies. We really need the prayers, too. We appreciate it.
We like the checks.
Yeah, please, bring down the checks.
Fair enough, Kelsey. All right, BoiseRM.org. Coming up next, our great friend Dave Petzo. We're at the Nampa Walmart, Garrity and Franklin, asking you to be a good penny and give a good penny as opposed to being a bad penny. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
When I first arrived at City Light, I was very nervous and frightened because I wasn't sure if people were going to love me for who I was and for everything that I'd gone through. But right when I walked through those City Light doors, I was greeted by the programmers and all of the staff, and I was given warm, welcome hugs, and it was the best feeling that I've had in a really long time of my life. My mom really had a tough life, and I just happened to go through that tough life with her. When I see my mom smile all the time when she comes home talking about how great her day at work was, it wouldn't have been this way without the Boise Rescue Mission and without God. Being a part of helping with funding with the mission is amazing because we all have stories. When you are a child or a family who was associated with the mission, you really get to thinking and knowing that when you donate to the Boise Rescue Mission, you're giving to the hurting families. You're providing meals for the homeless children and women who didn't really have anywhere to call home and didn't have somewhere to go eat a good meal for dinner. College road trip was like an adventure. I never would have thought, me being in 7th grade, that I would already know what I wanted to do when I would go to college. I would already have my college planned out and know that I can do it. And being on the college road trip, that really showed me what else is out there for me in the world, and that I can do anything with the help of God and the mission. What does it feel like to feel hope? What it feels like and what it felt like for me was that I was loved and I had an actual family. I felt their love and affection, and I knew that I was finally home and I had a forever family. Every teen night we have a speaker. Most of our speakers have amazing stories about what they had gone through in their lives, and that's the time when the children and us teens really sit and listen. That's what the teen group provides for kids like me, for us being able to know that no matter where we are, no matter who we're with, we're never going to be alone because we always have our godly family and our godly home. I would say to all of those donors that thank you. You were the ones who provided me clothes when I didn't have any. You were the ones who provided me food when I was hungry. Thanks to you, I was able to have a bed and know that I'm in a safe place and I could sleep without dreaming of being hurt and without waking up crying. It's all thanks to the donors.
Okay, there we have it. Another real-life testimonial from our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission, BoiseRM.org, KIDOTalkRadio.com, joined by Dave Petzo, the Petzo Center, Petzo Financial. Fresh off his appearance from Channel 7, zipping down here. Welcome to America. Welcome to the land outside of Boise.
I love this land outside of Boise.
Yeah, a lot bigger, free parking,
I know.
less taxes.
You can breathe out here.
Yes, exactly.
And this also, of course, Walmart. What better to represent Americana than a Walmart?
Only 8%. They only own 8% of the retail business, as opposed to 49% for your beloved Amazon.
Yeah, well, I'm with you, Kevin. I think that Amazon is the Death Star. It's I hope that they do something to stop the overreach. At least in my opinion, it's an overreach for companies. And anyway, it'll be interesting to see this battle. And Walmart is giving them a heck of a fight.
Now, before we get into business news, obviously the Boise Rescue Mission, very near and dear to your heart.
Yep.
Kelsey, you know Dave Petzo's great work with you guys, and certainly like Dave Petzo, so many people give. What does it mean when you have people like Dave Petzo making a difference?
It really does take, the business community, those people who have a voice like Dave Petzo to speak up and to talk about what we're doing and to get people involved. And
Dave, how did you become involved?
Well, I guess over the years I got to know Rev Roscoe and then began to understand further and more deeply, I guess, about what the Rescue Mission does. And of course we have to provide a meal for everybody and get them off the streets. And I can't imagine Boise without the Rescue Mission. 500 more people on the street would be quite a different city. We've all seen the pictures and what's going on in San Francisco, Seattle, Portland. It's a nightmare, and we just don't have that here. And I think by not having things, sometimes we take it for granted. But what I really loved about the Rescue Mission was the fact that they have programs to help people change their lives. What Reverend Roscoe always talks about, return on investment. There's nothing like it for the Rescue Mission. They have 500 people a year come into the program, homeless, jobless, and they leave. And in many cases without their addictions as well. So it's a phenomenal life turnaround for these folks.
And speaking of turnaround, let's turn around to you with traffic and weather together. KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Robin. And back with Dave Petzo, the Petzo Center, Petzo Financial. Dave, we take a look at the top business stories going on around the Treasure Valley, around the world. Where do we begin?
It's all about trade right now, Kevin. It's just totally about trade. I thought last week it was just brilliant what Trump did, though, to try to isolate China. That's not what anybody said, but the reality is that we're now getting along fine with the European Union. No auto tariffs there. And as far as the new NAFTA, whatever we call it now, they're really coming along, getting close to the finish line there, which really isolates China as the only problem out there. But what they're doing with Huawei is really amped it up. Huawei being the telecommunications company that companies like Micron are banned from selling chips to. So they've really taken the stakes up. We'll see how China responds this week.
You take a look at China and, IBM, it broke my heart. I think it was IBM years ago that they sold their laptop brand and to Lenovo.
Yep.
And, here we are. I guess with the exception of Apple, how many companies actually make laptops, which every millennial, plural, Gen Z, they seem to be attached at the hip to a laptop.
They are, and of course we are. We're very attached to our communications devices, but most people now are going totally mobile, completely mobile. If it's not the biggest devices we have now are iPads, by and large. So that business is in decline. But Kevin, China is the enemy out there. There's no question, and we finally have a president that's standing up and doing something about it. It'll be a disruption temporarily to the markets, but as we're hearing CEOs kick back and talk about it, the reality is they're sick of dealing with this too. And if we're going to think short term, the next quarter, 2 quarters, then we're going to have trouble ever dealing with somebody like China. But I think they're doing a good job, and we're thinking longer term, and the economy can support this easily. We've got full employment out there. It's a good time to fight this battle with China.
And coming up, Dave Petzo fights the taxes. Ada and Canyon County assessments are coming, and they're going to be shocking. Dave Petzo will respond. That's next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, broadcasting live from Miller's Mission in Nampa. Stop by, donate some pennies, make a difference. we'd love to see you. Kevin Miller, good morning, Maggie. And here we are rolling right along. Miller's Mission, where we ask you to give. I want to thank Eric, who just stopped by moments ago. Eric, thank you for listening, and thank you for your generous donations. Joined by Larry Gebert, joined by Dave Petzo. And Larry, I didn't know. Yeah, I know you're going to have to lean over there, but that's okay.
Yeah. Is that you can hear me okay?
I can hear you now.
All right, good.
So, Game of Thrones last night, Larry. I didn't know you were a big Game of Thrones fan.
Yeah. My wife and I watched that. We actually normally watch with our best friends. They come over to watch as well because we all ran into the same problem when Dish Network had a big argument with HBO and all that went away. That's a whole lot. That's a different story.
Dave Petzo will be covering that in a minute. Yes,
he'll be covering all it. Good. I hope so because at any rate, when all that changed, then we had to stream. So I streamed it. They come over. They couldn't because they are actually at King's Landing. Our friends are.
The King's Landing.
The King's Landing. There's a spot. It really exists, and it's in Croatia. And they're there on vacation. So they're at King's Landing.
Now, Dave Petzo, you're not a Game of Thrones guy.
No idea. No, I don't know how it.
This show is so big.
But I see the passion here.
But and we're going to get Larry's breakdown of this in a minute. But this show is so big, Dave Petzo, that you pay for cable, and then you pay on top of it. So you pay to see this show, and it's just blowing up. The last episode was last night.
Mm-hmm.
Larry's dying to give his review.
I think we should get a refund from HBO for season 8.
The price of love, Larry. The price of love.
Exactly.
What does that say, though, that you have a business that can make you pay not once but twice for something?
You've got a heck of a good business, is what that says. I mean, really, this show is. Whether I watch it or not is irrelevant to me admiring the fact of how what a big scale this is. It's a global thing. It's being distributed globally. Each production, I guess, is $100 million plus. It's just a huge thing.
This is how sick this is in a good way.
Yeah.
Larry's friends are taking a vacation, and they have Game of Thrones vacations now where you can go.
You can actually go there. I mean, most of the locations actually exist. In other words, Winterfell, for those who are fans of the show, Winterfell and Castle Black are actually side by side in northern Scotland. King's Landing is down by Croatia, and then a few of the others are other castles that are kind of around, mostly Croatia and Ireland and Scotland. Right. Yeah. So these are places that actually exist, so you can actually go and see some of these locations as well.
Well, and as you know, they don't do a lot of computer-generated stuff.
Yeah.
So, as you know, Dave Petzo, the more you invest in something, sometimes the greater your return. You go Cheap Charlie, and you get the Cheap Charlie results.
You do, and this was a home run. They spent a lot of money. Each show is like a major production.
Well, it is. I mean, the quote epic battle, which they called The Longest Night. They said they spent over $15 million, and I wish they would have saved 50 cents to buy one candle so that any of us watching could have actually seen what the battle was that they spent $15 million on, because it was literally so dark. They could have just put us in a closet, beat on the door with a hammer, and it would have been the same exact thing.
Now, here's the deal.
You sound a little bitter about
Season 8 here. Larry's not
just a little bit.
Larry's not your typical Game of Thrones person, but it has such a wide appeal. Well, you think it'd be the millennial people, the young people.
Well, there's a lot of but the storyline itself is an excellent storyline. The books are wonderful for those who actually.
Well, when they left the books, that's when the series went to bad.
They left the books, and so that's where they kind of deviated from some of the best stuff. Is when they got away, because the books just is not the same thing. And for those who watched last night, they'll understand my reference to the books. But those are those who read the books and were gravely disappointed in certain things that they did within the show. They took an awful lot of license in how they changed things from the actual books, and how some characters lived or died that didn't live or die in the books.
Do you see what you're missing out on? Now I can't really say that Larry Gebert lives a life like me.
Yeah.
But Larry is a man of action like yourself, water skiing. See, instead of golfing and hiking, you should be watching Game of Thrones. There's like 80 episodes.
I could just go for a month, and I'd never come out of my bunker, and I'd get all caught up with the rest of the world.
Honestly, if you do decide to watch, the best way to do it, I think, is to actually binge watch, because the storyline itself is so complicated that for those who actually did watch it one episode after another, you could actually remember certain things and certain characters. For those who only saw it like once a week, it was very challenging for them to actually keep track of the storyline. It's a very complicated storyline. The original books, the original author is incredible. Like I say, that is really, but even there you could, within the books, you could go back and find references. It was kind of hard to do that in the show, but if you binge watched it, you would actually be easier to follow the entire storylines.
And you could stop living life for a while.
Well, you can, yeah. I mean, it's like anything. I knew people who did that with Breaking Bad. They would binge watch that or go back and rewatch it. I've actually watched all of Game of Thrones at least twice.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
Even Kevin Miller that lives on TV hasn't done that.
Yeah. Well, have you had shows are you a Game of Thrones fan, Kevin?
Oh, yeah.
So what did you think of season 8?
I thought it was a waste.
Yeah.
Personally, I thought the battling the dead should have been more significant than the last battle, personally.
Yeah.
And the whole, here's the lesson, and I won't kind of ruin it. If you do the right thing, you're not rewarded for it.
Well, I tell you what, that's what got away from the original storyline of the books, was that they kind of made a major deviation and then phoned it in. I would have to say that whatever it was, they had to rewrite. That's why it took them so long to come out with this, because the original scripts were pirated, stolen. At least a portion of them were. They tried to hold them ransom. They said, no, you can't do that. We'll just simply rewrite the whole thing. Unfortunately, it does seem like it was phoned in. However, there was one thing that came out of all of this that was pretty funny. Emilia Clarke, who is the one of the stars.
Mother of Dragons.
Yeah, the Mother of Dragons.
See what you're missing, yes.
Daenerys Targaryen is her character name. That she's got a whole long title. Went to a Houston Rockets game. Did you see that video?
I did.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. That was great because the mascot came out with a coffee cup that was a generic coffee cup that looked like it could have come from a major coffee place. It was like, and that's part of the mistake that they made by leaving one on the table. And of course, he comes walking out and then sees, he looks to the side, drops the coffee cup, and bends a knee to Emilia Clarke, who was the star, who was the queen.
Now,
Daenerys.
Again, if you were thinking about a show that you have to pay for, not once but twice, and you have our friend Larry Legend, not like Kevin Miller, who is out, has a life, goes on wonderful vacations, water skis, is an active person. This is the magic of the marketing of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it is. It's astounding, and how big it is. I mean, I'm listening to him. He sounds like a Trekkie from back in the days.
Well, no,
like he would dress up to watch. It's like, okay, honey, let's go get our knight in shining armor outfit on.
I did go to one Star Trek convention. But that was because I was working and was covering it as a young reporter, and it was way back when. So I did meet some, I mean, not all, but I did meet. I have not yet ever met William Shatner. I'd still like to. But I did meet George Takei, and I did meet, I can't think of his name, Scotty. But I met Scotty and also Dr. McCoy at the convention. But that was because I was a reporter, so I had an inside advantage to get a chance to talk with each one of those. But in terms of the original Star Trek TV series, yeah, I think I have most of those episodes memorized. I watched those so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there we have it. The review and commentary of Game of Thrones from our great friend Larry Geber. 2 minutes. 2 minutes to Larry. Dave Petzo, by the way, thank you, Larry. We'll catch you on TV in a minute.
Well, you and I will be together on TV in a moment. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Dave Petzo, Ada County, Canyon County tax assessments coming soon. Looks like it's going to be a shocker.
It always is, Kevin. I think that people need to recognize that our local governments, we think of Idaho as being fairly conservative with the purse strings. We are not. The cities can't ever have enough money, and it doesn't matter who's running them. Conservatives, liberals, they all want tons and tons of money. There's no way to feed that pig, and we're going to get another shock, and people will complain. But unless you change the elected officials, this is what you get. And it's going to keep getting more of the same, which is increasing taxes. Kevin, it's gotten to be very expensive to live in Idaho.
Right.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
And we talk about
out here,
affordable
too, with
housing,
the people.
as we're dealing with today. People that leave the mission and need to find a place to live are starting over again, and it's very hard when you have property taxes this high, which means the rents are that high because the property owners have to charge enough to cover their property taxes and cost. It is a huge affordability problem.
More with Dave Petzo coming up next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
My name's Audrey, and I came to the mission to get a new life and a chance for change so that I didn't have to give my son the life that I lived as a child. You know, he could be filled with peace and joy through the Lord and through everyone that loves him, and that he could have me around because I didn't have my parents around as much as I would like to have. When I reached out for help, I was 85 pounds. I had given my son to my grandparents because I could no longer take care of him. And I was just so filled with guilt and shame that I couldn't do it anymore. And I ended up ODing in front of my dad. And I woke up in the hospital, and that's when I decided I needed to change, seeing that look in his eyes, knowing that I was following down the path that sent him to prison. When I came in the doors of City Light and realized that everybody cared about me, it was just joy and peace that filled my heart, as long as the love of God that just came in my life. It was just an awakening. I knew that I didn't have to follow any footsteps that people have stepped before me, and that I could make a new path and walk the narrow path that God intended. In my program, I'm on my internship with the Boise Rescue Mission. I have 3 more months left. I get to work with the teens every Thursday, and I'm working at a salon for the other part because they're letting me try to work with what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to be a cosmetologist, and I really didn't know that for sure until they gave me this externship opportunity with Salon 117, and it's just an amazing opportunity. I've just been filled with so much love from all the people around me, and so it's just amazing. The mission has taught me how to handle anything that comes at me, handle it with going to God and praying about it and not being overwhelmed and running to drugs like I used to. They have taught me to be patient and loving and kind, which I didn't know all that before, and now I can be the mother that God intended me to be. Seeing the donations come in that support my son makes me so joyful because I don't have to see my son struggle for anything. My son's never going to go hungry. My son's always going to have shoes on his feet that are new, and he'll always be taken care of just having this opportunity at the mission, and that's just amazing to me. It's definitely helped me excel as a person too. I would just want to thank all the donors that provided my recovery, because I wouldn't have been able to do it through any other recovery program. It would have just lasted that 30 days, and then I would have been released and I would have gone straight back. I now have a support family through the mission that I can always reach out to because of this program and because of the donors that provide for this program.
So, my name is Shelly, and I have the privilege of working with the kids of the Boise Rescue Mission. I have the privilege of seeing the change and impact that all of the awesome donations and support from the community make on these kids' lives every single day. During the school year, we are able to provide a safe place for kids to do their homework. We are able to provide tutors and mentors for the kids, afternoon snack. During the school year, it's homework club, and then on school breaks, we're able to provide a free program for any child that's been in one of our shelters, a safe, fun place for them to hang out and learn and stay engaged. It's amazing to see the cycle of homelessness and poverty and addiction starting to be broken with these children. It's amazing to see hope come back into their eyes. It's amazing to see them be able to see past this moment and into a brighter future. The summer program day starts with kids coming in, having some breakfast, just kind of gathering. We do a devotion with the kids. We try to take them out into the community to do service work, to do fun things, swimming, trampoline parks, stuff that they might not be able to do, but that their friends get to do during the summer. We also work on character building and leadership abilities, some leadership training for them so that they can stay on top of it and be ready for the next school year and look to their future with hope and promise. Tangible things that donors could donate or buy for kids program would be things like sunscreen, bathing suits, towels for swimming, healthy snack, books, children's books, flip-flops, anything that you would use in the summer. I do what I do because I feel like it's the best place to impact lives. The mission and the ministry is like nothing I've ever seen as far as the lives it impacts, from the small child to the adults. And I love to be able to minister hope back to the kids. We have 3 kids graduating this year, and it's so exciting to be able to see one going to college, one going into a trade school to be an electrician, another one going to work in the airlines. And that is all because of the donations and support of this community to the kids program in the Boise Rescue Mission. Well, I wish they could come spend a day with us, because then they would see for themselves the impact they're making with every flip-flop, with every towel, with every penny that comes our way. It really changes the lives of these kids.
And there we have it, why your donations to Miller's Mission makes a difference. Want to thank Roxanne, that's Mr. Bandit's mom, who stopped by, Tea Party Bob, Dave Petzo with us again. Let's get some business news in before we do. Thank you for the pennies. Let's get some business news in with Dave Petzo. Dave, the Karcher Mall, it's been sold. It's going to be redone into something like the Village. Your thoughts? You remember the Karcher Mall in 65, the first mall in the Treasure Valley.
Yep.
Big history there.
Yeah, it is. It was great in its time, and it's it's a total disaster now. There's just nothing there. It's an eyesore, and you have this center of the universe going right through there, which is always, if you're heading out to Sunny Slope or something, it's I got to get through this area. But we think about what you could do with that. It would be fantastic to imagine a brand new shopping area or something there.
Well, you think of these Village-type experiences, and for people that aren't familiar, Eagle Road, the Village in Meridian, they do a fantastic job. Lots of high-end shops there. Now you're looking at Caldwell trying to get into the game, Nampa trying to get into the game. Your thoughts on trying to replicate that success?
Yeah, it may not be the exact same thing. You have a different vibe where the Village is than you do in Canyon County. But I'll tell you, I think the developers are really missing it if they are thinking that the Caldwell and Nampa are way out in the hinterlands and that people don't want to have those kind of amenities. There's no question. Yeah, people are moving out because they want more affordable housing, but that doesn't mean that they want to now drive 30 miles back towards Boise because they want to go get a decent meal or whatever it is. I mean, there is a lot of entertainment dollars out that way, and people
You mean here where we are?
Here where we are in the hinterlands, yes.
With the people, with the
real folks.
More coming up next with Dave Petzo. Ford cutting 7,000 white-collar jobs and a recall. How does that impact your commute? First, traffic and weather together. KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning. So, Dave Petzo, here we have it. Ford cutting 7,000 white-collar jobs.
Yep.
Also, this massive recall. Not really good for Ford. How do they handle this?
Kevin, it's interesting. I talked about this on Saturday about how some industries are in decline, and clearly autos are, right? There's so many manufacturers. Some of them are going to survive. I'm not sure Ford is one of them. You've got to have some kind of autonomous car, and they don't. They don't seem to have any program going. I'm quite concerned about Ford, and they're not doing well. They do well in trucks, but the world can't just all own trucks. There's not room enough.
I don't know about that when you think of Ford, though. They didn't take the government bailout, and here you have it, almost 300,000 recalls in North America.
Kevin, I agree with you, and I wish they would do well because they were the company that didn't take the government money. Okay, so I'm a fan as well, but they're just this looks like a difficult industry. They're in secular decline. This isn't cyclical, where we just have a boom bust because of an economic cycle. We're in a long-term permanent decline in the number of autos bought in this country. Many millennials don't drive, and we're urbanizing the country even more than it was, meaning some people just don't even own a car. Some families don't have a car, many of them, and that trend is
shame on them.
Is accelerating.
Shame
I agree.
on them.
There is something lost when you don't learn how to drive a car, have the independence of it, and all of the frightening things that parents go through with their children, all those things. It's part of growing up. It's part of my world growing up.
Dave Petzo, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for what you're doing here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning.